went very well. And first of all, just want to say how much, on behalf of the town, as the mayor said, how much that we appreciate your interest in serving on an advisory board. I know that some of you were reappointed, and then others of you are new appointments. So this is an exciting time, and certainly I can't say enough how much we appreciate your willingness to serve in whatever respective role and whatever respective board that you are on. It is very important. And one thing I'll say is I promise that this presentation is not very long. I don't think we'll be here for 2 hours unless you just have so many questions that we can answer away as much as we can. But we are here for as long as you would like to be able to answer any questions that you may have. So don't be afraid to ask. This PowerPoint presentation is just meant to supplement the information that you already will be provided as part of your training manual and materials. So first off, I just want to introduce myself, and then our clerk staff will introduce themselves. And since we have a fairly small group, wouldn't mind going around the Zoom room, I guess you'd call it here, and let everybody introduce themselves to each other. Some of you probably know each other from working on the same boards, but most of you may not necessarily know each other and know what board that you will be or have already been serving on. So I'll start. I've been in the local government biz now for my entire professional career, 21 years. I'm a planner by trade, but I've been in management now for the most part for the last 5 to 6 years. But I came here back in May of 2019 to fill the role of planning director. Just saw it as a great opportunity to move on from where I was. I was town manager for the town of Mills River, which is a small municipality just south of Asheville, and was there for 4.5 years and was ready for a new challenge, and I found it here. And just this past March, I was appointed as town manager. So I fill the dual role right now of town manager and planning director. We'll continue to do that probably through at a minimum at least this calendar year, and probably into the first quarter of next calendar year. My goal is to get our land development code adopted and our new zoning map adopted, and then hopefully I can hand the keys off to somebody else, a new planning director, to run with our growth strategy. So that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. I started my career in the Greensboro area and worked there for quite a long time for a suburb of the Greensboro High Point area called Archdale. You may have heard of Archdale or seen there's a big town hall right off 85 you can see as you approach High Point. That's how a lot of people know where Archdale is. After that, I worked for the city of Kannapolis for a little bit as their planning director, and then went off to the mountains of Mills River. Then, of course, I came here. I love local government. I said I've been doing it my entire career. I couldn't think of anything else that I would want to do more. It is a labor of love for me, because I'm not the type of person that would do something that I don't love doing. So I really do enjoy it. So look forward to what the future brings here in Waxhaw as well. So Melody, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Melody Schuler. I'm the town clerk, also the assistant to the town manager. I've been in local government for 12 years. 6 of those years have been with Waxhaw. I started out as a customer service clerk, then moved into an assistant town manager position with the town of Wingate, and then moved over here 6 years ago, and really have enjoyed the challenge of the day-to-day happenings in Waxhaw, and really enjoy working with the people that I work with, the community. And so the main thing is that I've really enjoyed is to be able to develop as a professional. And so I had an opportunity to earn a master's in public administration, just graduated with that back in December of this last year. And then right now I'm serving as the president of our North Carolina Association of Municipal Clerks. So very excited to serve in these leadership roles. And at this point, I will turn it over to Barbie to introduce herself.
Good evening. I'm Barbie Blackwell, and I'm the deputy clerk here for the town of Waxhaw. I've been in local government since 2000, so 20 some odd years. I've just recently came to Waxhaw in this role, and I am honored to be here, honored to work with each and every one of you. Just give me a call if you ever need any help.
All right, thank you, Barbie. Thank you, Melody. And let's see, I'll go around the Zoom screen here and hopefully I'll be able to catch everybody, because you guys know how Zoom works sometimes. Sometimes all the screens get flipped around and people start shifting around. So we'll see if I can make sure we cover everybody here. So first one I see, Robert. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Robert Dussinger. I go by Bob. My wife Patty and I emigrated from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania about a dozen years ago. I'm a retired naval commander, 26 years service, and a retired vice president and senior underwriting officer for a major multinational insurance company. I've been involved with various different government committees down here, I guess for a better part of 10 years. It all started with my wife says, you're bored, you got to do something. So I figure if we can do anything to help the community, it's a plus. Besides being on the Board of Adjustments, I also serve as a Board of Elections judge and just went through my mandatory training again yesterday.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. Frank.
Hi there, I'm Frank Aricchio. I'm Vice President of Technology for Morgan Stanley. My office is in Times Square, Manhattan. Haven't been there for a while because of what's been going on, and no complaints there. I'm enjoying Waxhaw more than New York at this point. I've been a member of the ABC board for about a year now. I'm the secretary, actually, at this point. Really enjoying it. It's a lot more than I thought it would be, especially because sales have doubled historically, because of what's going on now. So it's a busy time. You could walk into that store and find it half empty at some points, which I understand never really happened before. But the staff's really working hard to keep it fully stocked. I also get involved with, I coach Babe Ruth baseball in town. I like to stay involved. I used to commute 3 hours to work back and forth. So now without the commute, the work from home, I have plenty of time to get involved and give back a little bit.
Well, great, Frank. There's not very many positives that you can take from the pandemic, but one of the positives is the ABC revenue. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Ferry, and we moved here from Houston, Texas in summer of 2018, so we're relatively new to the area. Currently a product manager for BASF, which is a chemical company. I work in the Still Creek area of Charlotte. However, since we've been on quarantine and stuff, my whole the whole office has been working from home. So I've been working from home since let's see, March now, I think. I'm a member of the Parks and Rec board. I was appointed to fill maybe just a couple months, less than 6 months of the last position, and now I was reappointed for a full term of 3 years. I live here with my husband and my daughter. She goes to Cuthbertson High School and she's a junior there.
Great. Thank you, Beth. Mr. Bob Morgan.
Hi, I'm Bob Morgan. I've been in Waxhaw since like 2009. Obviously, I have a dog. Molly, relax. I started on the planning board like 2010, and I've been on there, I mean, non-consecutively since. I think it was off for a little while. I just like being involved and, and seeing how the town has grown so much. It's been pretty impressive. Yeah, that's about it. I work uptown. I work at Bank of America, but obviously I've been home since March. I do software licensing contracts, and yeah, well, that's about it. But thank you very much. I enjoy having these learning experiences, even if it's ethics, which is kind of dry, but is very important to follow.
Well, thank you, Bob. Jonathan.
Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan Barber. I am originally from the Philadelphia suburbs in South Jersey. I am a partner in a law firm in Charlotte. I practice franchise law, but I practice here from my home office. I live in Millbridge. I've been here a little over a year now. My wife and I have 3 kids under 4 that keep us very busy. I've been appointed to the ABC board, so I'll be getting to know you, Frank. The boards are regulated by Chapter 18B of the North Carolina General Statutes. And when I was a newly minted attorney, I actually took a pro bono project, and on behalf of a group that I was a part of, I drafted part of Chapter 18B. So I got to participate in the lobbying and legislative process and drafted some of the alcohol beverage laws for our state. So that's kind of what attracted me to working on that board.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jonathan. And I'm a Millbridge resident as well. Looks like we got 1 or 2 others here too, including Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie Thomas. I've been down here from New York for about a little over 2 years now. Sell real estate, background in electrical infrastructure and project construction management back in New York. Been down here, like I said, about 2 years. Don't miss New York one bit. Happy to be here. Never served on any government board before. Looking forward to the experience. And I have 2 boys going to Cuthbertson. I live in Millbridge as well, as you might tell by my background. And I coach boys hockey in my spare time as well. And I'm looking forward to this.
Well, thank you, Charlie. There's so many people that have moved down from New York here, and not one of them has said they miss it yet. It is a little surprising to me. Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan Huthert. I previously served on the planning board, but I'm currently now on the Parks and Rec board. I am originally from Ohio, moved down in 2007. And like all the New Yorkers down here, I don't miss it either. Funny, Charlie, you coach hockey. I was an ice skater growing up, so that's interesting. I lived in Millbridge briefly, and I'm currently in Harrison Park. I actually am really enjoying my new committee of Parks and Rec, especially with all this pandemic, interesting stuff happening, and we had the nuances and the ins and outs of how to work around that so our community can still enjoy the facilities. And I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I've been licensed here for the past 5 years, and I have 2 children. One has graduated from Cuthbertson, and the other one is a junior. So that's me.
Well, it's obviously a good time to be a realtor in Waxhaw in the surrounding area.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Megan. All right, so let's see. Priyadarshini, did I pronounce that correct? Close?
Yes, it's Priyadarshini. Hi, everyone. So my name is Priyadarshini Inman. I go by Priya, so it's very easy. I'm from India, but I moved to US in 2014. Before I was in China. So I've been working in furniture industries for about 10 years. So I'm heading a marketing division for a multinational company. And we were living in Greensboro before we moved to Wexel 1 year back, 1.5 year back. My husband is from here. He grew up in Indian land, so he knows this place, and he tells me that how this area has been very interesting. And I have been visiting Wexel for almost like 4 years because I have friends in Millbridge, and so do we move to Millbridge, and I'm in love with Wexel. I never serve any government departments, but I have been doing a lot of community services. For that, last year I got a Presidential Volunteer Award, which gave me a lot of encouragement to serve more. And here I am, and I'm very excited to learn and know and work together with all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Priya, and another fellow neighbor. See, even Millbridge just could have incorporated itself, right? Could be its own town.
Yes.
Yehan.
Hey everyone. So my name's Yehan. My wife and I moved here about 5 years ago. We moved here from Miami, and we don't live in Millbridge. We live in Puritan, which is almost as cool as Millbridge is. I work for a company called Red Ventures, which is just across the border in South Carolina, where I lead the energy group there. We have 2 boys, not as many kids as Jonathan does, but we have 2 boys who are 2 and 4. And I've been on the Historic Preservation Commission for about a year or 2, and it's been a fun experience.
Okay, Red Ventures. Yeah, we definitely need some economic development opportunity here. I might need to talk with you a little bit more. Your compadres there.
That sounds good to me.
All right, cool. I think I got everybody. I didn't really have a little bit of a screen shift, but not much this time. Did I miss anybody? Okay, great. So I will get this screen going. Everybody see the full presentation there?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what we'll do is we'll just take a little bit of time to give you an overview. We'll talk about our government structure, the ability for a citizen to participate, some more specifics about our advisory boards and commissions, as well as your procedural responsibilities and some of your specific roles. I'll be taking the first roughly half or a little bit more of the presentation, and then Melody and Barbie will cover the back third to back half. Only 17 slides, so not too bad. So first, just want to give you an idea of how we are structured if you're not familiar. Just like most states, we are given the authority to govern by the NC state legislature, and specifically the NC general statutes. We operate under what's called a council manager form of government. There are a few different ways that you can operate. Another way that people sometimes are familiar with, and it happens a lot more up in the Northeast and in the Midwest to a certain extent, the strong mayor form of government, like the Mayor de Blasio, New York, that kind of thing. But most of the country operates on a council manager form of government. And so the simplest way to remember council manager form of government, council, legislative body, handles the policy, manager handles the administrative everyday operations. But specifically, we're called, here in Waxhaw, the elected body is called rather the Board of Commissioners. They can be called a council, they can be called an alderman, they can be called selectmen, they can be called a bunch of different things, but they are the commissioners here. Their focus is, as I mentioned, on the legislation and policy of the town. They also set the direction of the organization. You know, what are the goals? What is the big picture? What is the best for the town? What are we trying to accomplish? Adopts a budget, levies a property tax. So our budgeting process is roughly a 5 to 6 month process. Our fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th. So we typically start the budgeting process in January of each year. So that'll be coming up again before we know it. Our current property tax rate is 38.5 cents. And I know that's one reason why all the New Yorkers like us a lot, because we have a lot cheaper tax rate. Of course, we'll do our best to keep it that way for as long as we can. So our Board of Commissioners, also one of their primary roles is to identify and communicate the community needs. And so how they do that sometimes can be as simple as somebody approaching them at the grocery store, at the gas station, if they have some kind of issue that's important to them that they want to talk about, or through public comment, public input. It's another common way. And a lot of times they bring their own expertise from their own work world, private lives, to be able to communicate those community needs as well. Another one of their major roles is to appoint the town manager and the town attorney. Both typically work under a contractual arrangement, though it's not always the case. There are some managers out there that don't, but most do. And then, of course, they also appoint the advisory boards and commissions. Obviously, that's why you're here this evening, because you got either appointed or reappointed to your respective advisory board. So just to give you an idea of the biggest of big pictures and what the vision and the mission is for Waxhaw, and these have both been adopted by our Board of Commissioners. Our vision is Waxhaw is a friendly, vibrant, prosperous town where history and creativity build an enduring, safe, and healthy community of people of all ages to live, work, play, or grow a business. The mission: the unique character of Waxhaw is preserved and enhanced through responsibly serving residents, visitors, and the business community with integrity and innovation. So now the manager's role. What does the manager do? Well, oversees the day-to-day operations of the town. And obviously, to be able to do that, have to have a staff. So I do have the authority to hire and fire town staff. We have right now a total of 80 employees. We have about a $13 million budget. We had to drop it down from a $15 million budget due to just being prepared for COVID concerns. And so we will continue to monitor that as we go along with our revenue expectations. But the largest is the police department. That's probably no surprise. They have about 30 of our 80 employees. So one of our other big things to do in the town manager realm is execute and implement our policies and goals that are established by the board. So the board approves a policy. Say it's a rezoning request, then it is my job, along with our staff, to make sure that we implement that decision appropriately and correctly. They also just adopted a new parades and picketing ordinance at our last meeting. So it's on us now to make sure that that ordinance is implemented correctly. So the manager is also accountable for all the services provided to its citizenry, whether it's garbage, whether it's streets, or whatever that may be. It's my responsibility to make sure that those are provided in a professional manner to our citizens. As I mentioned before, we prepare and submit the annual budget to the Board of Commissioners. Mentioned that we start that process in January, work at the staff level usually for the first few months, but then bring that to the board level to the latter half of that, with hopeful adoption usually in the June time frame of each year. The manager attends all Board of Commissioner meetings, providing guidance and feedback, and really with one goal in mind, and that's just putting the board in the best position to make a good decision. And also the manager serves at the pleasure of the Board of Commissioners. So how does this work best? Because there is a great bit of overlap between policy and administration. So how it works best is when you have a board that works well together and is in sync in in mind and philosophies with your administrative staff. And I can say right now that we have that. We're very fortunate to have a group that is of the same mindset, same philosophy on things. And when you have that, you can get a great amount accomplished. I'm looking forward to a lot of the things that we have in store and are moving forward with. You know, unfortunately, local government isn't the fastest moving organization in the world. We are a lot better than the state and the federal though, but it still takes time to get some things rolling, but we are doing that. And we think that you will be pleased as advisory boards for some of your roles that you'll have in some of these things that we hope to do moving forward. But when you have a board and management that are in sync, it really clarifies your legislative goals and expectations. It really reduces the gap between policy development and implementation. It makes it that much easier, and your government is a lot more effective. If you have elected officials that are at odds with each other and at odds with staff, one or both, then that can make your government very inefficient and very ineffective. And that has happened here in the past, quite frankly, in the not too distant past. But we have a really good group of board members now. Everybody's on the same page. I really enjoy working with them and look forward to continued success moving forward with them. So how can a citizen participate if you're not elected or if you're not a town manager? Well, you can apply to be part of an advisory board. And so that's what you all have done. And of course, you've been appointed. And what you are as an advisory board member is you bridge the gap between the Board of Commissioners and the community. It allows you to be better informed on public issues. It allows you to also be an ambassador to the community. I bet maybe some of you that have already been in place for a good little while have mentioned to somebody that you were either a member of the planning board or a member of the ABC board or what have you, right? You also are able to directly address issues that affect you. And then lastly, and most importantly, you help shape the future of Waxhaw with some of your recommendations that you make to the town board. So the purpose of our advisory boards and commissions is to advise the Board of Commissioners by making recommendations on important policy matters. And those can be a whole number of different things respective to each of your disciplines in that advisory board. Also play an integral role in the development of innovative programs, assist the Board of Commissioners in acquiring a comprehensive understanding of public opinion. I think that one's real important because one of the ways we can simply say is that you as an advisory board, you're really a sample size of what the community thinks as a whole. So if you unanimously recommend something to the board, that carries a lot of weight as a sample size for what the entire community thinks. And if you don't, well, that gives the board some pause as to the why, makes them think about that more. It also offers our citizens an opportunity to participate in the town, as I mentioned, when you're not elected or appointed as the town manager. So what are the different boards? So we actually have 3 different categories of boards. We have what are called autonomous boards, and these are boards that if you have these functions, they are required by state law. So we sell liquor, for example, in the town of Waxhaw, so we have to have a ABC, Alcoholic Beverage Commission. So we do. We have a National Historic District around downtown and the vicinity, so we had to create a Historic Preservation Commission. We have planning and zoning regulation as one of our core services in the town, so we're required by law to establish and have a planning board. So we also have quasi-judicial boards, which provide some different functions. Board of Adjustment, they make findings of facts and conclusions on laws, handling appeals that affect provisions of the town code. They also handle variance cases. So these type of hearings must comply with due process requirements, and decisions typically are subject to review by a superior court, but they also can have an advisory role. Same for the Historic Preservation Commission. They can serve the dual role there. And then we also have just straight, which you would call strictly advisory boards, the Main Street Advisory Board, the Organizational Advisory Board, the Parks and Cultural and Recreation Board, and then the Public Art Selection Jury. Not all boards are required to have residency within the town. The ABC, the HPC, and the Planning Board and Board of Adjustment are, but the rest are not. I think most of our members do live in town, but there are a few that do not. So the appointment process, the applicants are vetted and recommended by the OAB, or the Organizational Advisory Board. And of course, that's why each of you are here. Typically, they appoint on an annual basis this time of year, but that's certainly not exclusive. It depends on how many vacancies we have, and they want to try to keep them as full as much as possible. So it's not uncommon for during the year we'll fill a vacancy here and a vacancy there. If we get close to the summertime, though, they usually like to wait until the typical reappointment and appointment process that happens annually in September. Everyone's term is for 3 years. And if you do get appointed in midterm, then it still stays on that cycle. So if you get reappointed sometime in the middle of that, you actually may come up for reappointment again earlier than 3 years. So how are you governed? Well, you're governed by your town ordinance or our town ordinance or state law, by your rules of procedure, by the North Carolina Open Meetings Law, as well as any other town policies on ethics and conflict of interest. So town ordinance, obviously, if you're on the planning board, the planning zoning ordinance will be the primary document that governs the advisory platform that they have. And that's just one example. And each of your boards have some type of rules of procedure and must adhere to open meetings law, as well as ethics and conflicts of interest. So with that, I will turn it over to Melody to continue on.
Thank you, Jeff. So what I really wanted to go over are the member expectations with regards to attendance, voting, and basically that you are a representative of the town. So with regards to attendance, it's optimal if you're able to attend all meetings as possible. We do have a requirement or a stipulation that if you miss 3 or more consecutive meetings, that you could have the potential to be removed from the advisory board. This does require board action, the Board of Commissioners. So just be mindful of that. Always let your staff liaisons know if you will not be able to attend the meeting. We generally work with people, but there are those instances where we have ran into those instances of people not being able to attend 3 meetings in a row. So also wanted to point out that you will get a stipend of $25 for each meeting. If a meeting is not held or if you don't attend, you won't get paid. So just important note there. With regards to voting, members need to vote on all matters that are before the advisory board. The only exception here is if there's a conflict of interest. You could be excused from voting by a majority of the members. But most importantly, I wanted to know that you are a representative of the town in an official capacity. So if you represent yourself as a member of your advisory board to another entity, you are essentially sharing the town's view on things, and that might not be necessarily what you need to be doing. So say if you went to the Union County Board of Commissioners meeting, you spoke on behalf of the town by saying, I am the chair of the Waxhaw ABC board, then you would essentially be representing the town. What we recommend for you to do in this instance is to just say, these are my individual views as a citizen, and then share your viewpoints. This just keeps you out of hot water, if you will. Okay, Jeff, if you'll move the slide forward. Next up, we have open meetings law. There are some main requirements that you need to be aware of. Basically, that all meetings are open to the public. All public needs to have access to these meetings. So right now what we're doing is we're offering virtual meetings, and we have a way for the public to submit comments to us via a form. And so we have that for all of our advisory boards and commissions. Right now we haven't received very many comments for our advisory boards. So if you're a current member on an advisory board, you may not have noticed that, and that's why. Another thing is notices must be given 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Also, a quorum is required to hold a meeting and conduct business. So a quorum is held when there's a majority, which is more than half of the board members present, plus the chair. Vacant seats should not be counted. So as an example, the Board of Commissioners, they are made up of 6 members, including the mayor, and their quorum is 4. But right now they have a vacancy, and so removing that vacancy, you would have 5 members, and so your quorum is 3. So moving on, minutes are a requirement. Basically, they record the action of the advisory board. And then lastly, advisory boards are allowed to gather informally or socially. So as an example, we've had events before where all the chairs would have a social event, maybe quarterly. And so that would be okay. The main thing you need to remember is don't discuss town business, because otherwise minutes have to be recorded, and it would be an illegal meeting at that point. So we don't want that. Jeff, if you'll move it forward. Okay. So ethics, basically everyone needs to act in an ethical fashion, all of our elected officials and appointed officials, which you are. But the main thing is, when talk about ethics, is that you basically strive to do what is right for the town as a whole. And, you know, a lot of times when you think of ethics, it might be legal to do something, but really is it ethical? And so we listed out a couple things here. I'm not going to list them all or mention them all, that you should not do. But you should engage or should not engage in transactions that would benefit yourself or a family member financially or in any form or fashion. And so I guess probably another thing would be, you shouldn't accept a gift from a consultant who is contracting with the town. So as an example, say we had a consultant developing a park plan for the town, and if that consultant tried to give you a gift, that would not be ethical. It would essentially be a bribe, potentially. So just a couple things to think about. Also, use of town facilities, personnel, equipment, or supplies for private purposes. You should not use those for private purposes. So at this time, I'll turn the presentation over to Barbie.
Okay, for moving on to some more procedural responsibilities is your conflict of interest. One of the things you need to remember is, as all board members, is that you should not participate in any business transaction that involves public funds. That means that you shouldn't enter into a contract also with contractors if it's a personal or financial gain that you'll get. That is totally not correct by your conflict. You also could, you should avoid voting on procedures that is going to personally benefit you or your family benefits with that. You should totally avoid that. Also, you should disclose any conflicts of interest before a meeting. Most of your, the ones on the planning board, board of adjustments, you may find yourself in a conflict there with certain agenda discussions where you may potentially be associated with that particular company. So you need to recuse yourself from any voting and not participate in any decision making, because then that would be your conflict there. And if you're not sure whether or not you have a conflict of interest, then you should just totally sit out the discussion and just not vote. Next slide, please. So as we go and discuss the roles, many of you will have a chair, vice chair, maybe a secretary, or but the chair is the person that resides over all of the meetings. They work closely together with the staff liaison to develop the agendas. They also ensure that all board members' viewpoints are heard and that they're fair and impartial manner. They also approve the agendas for discussion prior to distribution to the rest of the board members. They also represent the advisory board before the Board of Commissioners to potentially give a report on what the boards are doing at the present moment. Many of the planning board members or board of adjustments, maybe even your ABC board, may go before your Board of Commissioners to give a report on maybe some legislative law or zoning matters. And then the chairs have the authority to call for a special meeting if you need to meet, or cancel the meeting if there's no agenda items to discuss at the time. Next slide, please. So the next is your staff liaisons. They are appointed by the town manager to be your support system within the board. They help the chairperson develop the agendas, and they maintain the minutes for each board. They record the meetings there. They record the attendance of all the members. They also notify the town clerk's office for any special meetings that your board may have. Then they also notify members of upcoming meetings and new developments within the community. Planning board may have something coming in, public involvement of a potential rezoning. That's one of the things they will need to notify for that. They also ensure that the legal and administrative requirements are met within the meeting, that it's functioning properly and it's called properly by the chair and the members. And they, like I say, they act as your support system between to go over town policies and procedures that they may have. I think that's it.
All right, great. Let's get out of the slideshow here. Get everybody back on the screen and see if anybody has any questions or if you're ready for the presidential debate. Going once, going twice. All right, very good. So Melody, how many new appointments do we have?
We have 4 tonight. And so I'll need Jonathan Barber, Priya Inman, and Charles Thomas and Beth Ferry to stay on the Zoom meeting. Everyone else can leave. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Very
the
much.
time this evening.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What happens if, so someone's appointed to a 3-year term, what happens if that person can't finish that, whatever, they're moving or whatever, they basically respectfully just communicate that and then the position is filled?
That's correct. Yeah, you would just need to submit an email of resignation to, in this case, Dina, just letting us know, and then it would go to the Board of Commissioners, basically just notifying them of that vacancy.
Okay. I was
For
just
that resignation.
no intention of that. I was just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's always good to know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the oaths of office. I'll do the oath for each of the boards. So the ABC Board, Main Street Advisory Board, Planning Board, and Parks, Cultural, and Recreation Advisory Board. And so I'll just really provide these instructions once. If you would raise your right hand, if you choose, you can place your left hand on the Bible. And then what I'll do is I'll read the oath in its entirety to you, and you will signify your acceptance by saying "I do" at the end. And I'll need you to unmute yourselves. There you go. Thank you, Jonathan. And then we'll move forward. So I'll go ahead and do Jonathan Barber with the ABC Board. All right. Do you solemnly swear to support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith? And do you swear to faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the ABC Board for the town of Waxhaw, so help you God?
I do.
All right, congratulations, you are official.
Thank you. I'll get this to you ASAP.
Perfect. All right, well, I hope you have a great evening, and thanks for joining us.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everyone. Bye.
Bye. All right, next up we have Main Street Advisory Board, Priya Inman. All right, so do you solemnly swear to support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith? And do you swear to faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the Main Street Advisory Board for the town of Waxhaw, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations, you're official.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Very
Have a good
excited
night.
to have you on here.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. See you.
You too.
Bye.
All right, next up, we've got Charlie Thomas with the Planning Board. All right, go ahead and raise your right hand. And so, do you solemnly swear to support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith? And do you swear to faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the Planning Board for the town of Waxhaw, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you are official. Congratulations. I know
I'll
they're
send it.
excited to have you on board with the Planning Board.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
I'll
Well,
send
have
this.
a good.
I have to send this to everybody on the email, I guess?
You can send it to myself or Barbie.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Well, have a great one.
All right, you too. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
all.
All right, last but not least, we've got Beth Ferry with Parks, Cultural, and Recreation Advisory Board. So if you will raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of North Carolina not inconsistent therewith, and do you swear to faithfully discharge the duties of your office as a member of the Parks, Cultural, and Recreation Advisory Board for the town of Waxhaw, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, congratulations. You're official. Very excited that you got to continue on the PCR committee.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us tonight and excited to see everything that you will be doing on that
Thank
board.
you. Thank you very much. Nice
Take
to
care,
meet you.
Beth.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.